which is struggle for livelihood, because it's another test, I think, in this age. I think it is related to some of the topics that we have covered, such as the peculiarities of this age, such as why we need iman. And there's another actually session that is related to it's time to save our iman in the afternoon by Isabi. But inshallah, struggle for livelihood, because we talked about all these entertainments, all these necessities, unnecessary things becoming necessary, or being realized, or being marketed as necessary. But another big part of those is struggle for livelihood, because that is usually the biggest excuse for anyone to skip religious duties, or see them as not the first priority. So inshallah, we will try to explore that topic. I have sent the PDF to the group as well. It will be mainly about the fifth word. And inshallah, please take us away.
There was short time to get ready for the topic, but while going through the collection, what I can really cover, I saw that this is extensively actually went through by Ustad in many parts. We will not be able to for sure cover all, but inshallah we can go through fifth word, and feel free to stop me anytime, and we can maybe refer to some other parts that can help us to understand. Fifth word. In the name of Allah, the Merciful, the Compassionate. Indeed, Allah is with those who fear Him and those who do good. Inna Allah ma'al-ladhina taqaw wal-ladhina hum muhsinun. If you want to see what a truly human duty and what a natural, appropriate result of man's creation it is to perform the 5 daily prayers, obligatory prayers, and not to commit serious sins, listen to and take heed of the following comparison. If you want to see what a truly human duty and what a natural, appropriate result of man's creation it is to perform the 5 daily prayers and not to commit serious sins, listen to and take heed of the following comparison. This first sentence just reminded me a point that I want to say a few words. Even when we are training our children, educating ourselves, mostly what I heard actually, I don't know every generation, every nation, every single person, but mostly what I heard from my parents is like the bread is in the lion's mouth. Even now it's not in the lion's mouth, it is in the stomach of the lion.
What does it mean in English? How can I explain this?
I translate? So the struggle of livelihood is so harsh that you have to get ready. And this is
as hard as getting it out of lion's mouth.
Going to school, learn English.
We cannot get the meat piece from the mouth of a cat. You're saying it's now in the stomach of the lion.
You have to kill the lion. It's so hard.
Yeah. So whatever you're doing, do it well, because you are gonna hit this challenge. You're gonna face this challenge one day. So you're gonna get ready. But here it just starts that your duty is results of man's creation. You are here for, and it's very natural. So this is the natural outcome of your life. This is what you're supposed to do. is to perform 5 daily prayers, not to commit serious sins. Maybe we can relate this, while looking for your livelihood, your, bread money. You gotta be, moral and be careful about some etiquette, just laws and regulations. Maybe you gotta be honest. And not to commit serious sins, listen to and take heed of the following comparison. Once, at a time of general mobilization, 2 soldiers found themselves together in a regiment. One was well-trained and conscientious, the other a raw recruit and self-centered. So this is time of mobilization. Every single man on that country is taken for the service. There is no exception. One was well-trained and conscientious, the other a raw recruit and self-centered. New guy. The conscientious soldier concentrated on training and the war and did not give a thought. Of course, there's good stuff next to this, but
they don't deny it.
Nothing is this important,
Not that urgent, huh?
Yeah. So there's like in my life, this is the thing that should occupy my mind, and you just run for a half of your life, even for training for this purpose, and the other part for running for this purpose, and maybe the 5 or 10 years left over, you retire and I don't know, enjoy the rest. This is the picture,
If you live long.
If you look at this, in this, with this perspective, with this point of view. But he just says, no, you are not. Actually, you said, for example, earn the livelihood. He said, you are not even earning your livelihood.
Right.
You are mad.
It's a metaphor.
This is not even your duty. This is not even what you're doing here. It is just illusion. Very interesting. I don't know. This was really revolutionary to,
Isn't that something like a leap of faith? I mean, can we? Because we live in a world where we have causes and stuff, right? How do we internalize that, right? I mean, that is because it's a statement, great, but how can we make sure that is it because I guess later he gives examples, right? That it is not related.
This was the next paragraph that I wanted to go over.
But otherwise, I think, right, because it is indeed a bold statement, right? Like you are not even earning your livelihood, and it's not your duty, okay. But also, what apparently what's going on is that you go, you get, you work for someone or something, and then there is some sort of like a money associated with it. You buy stuff. Like it looks like there is that chain that's happening, but then we are saying, okay, we are just being provided, and this is just some that fatigue duty, right? The soldier is having, like it's just some sort of series of menial tasks that you have to do in order to get to that provision. How do we get to that? Is it? I guess it will explain in the later sections, right? I mean, it is like when you look at it again on the outside, it is like it's a change of paradigm, right? It's a change of how you look at things, because right now, working for our livelihood is the central point, is the priority for almost all of us. What he's saying is that this should not be your priority. I mean, it's your duty, but it's not like you are earning it, right? It is something else.
You are earning in the social realm, human to human relations, just like possession. We are not possessing anything actually, all existence belongs to God. But in human relations, we own this and that because we say we worked hard and I earned this. At the ultimate level, it's a metaphor. But the idea is what is our priority? How much we should work for this world in comparison to the next. So we should keep a delicate balance. That's the focus here, I guess.
For sure, it's enough to compare fish with foxes, and newly born animals with wild beasts, and trees with animals in order to understand that illicit food, halal food, is obtained not through power and will, but through impotence and helplessness. It's enough to compare fish with foxes. Fish, kind of, when somebody wants to describe a short memory, it's like they define it as fish memory, right? And with foxes, fox is very cunning. It just makes tricks to get the chicken out of the
cunning.
Newly born animals with wild beasts. Wild beasts are very strong and compared very capable in the struggle of livelihood. But the newly born animals are really weak and maybe capable of nothing. And trees with animals, in order to understand that halal food is obtained not through power and will, but through impotence, weakness, and helplessness. Also, it could be like the trees, when we look at them, right? They feed thousands of babies, in a way, fruits, but they just put their roots in the mud and perfectly survive and perfectly feed their offsprings. But on the other side, many animals have to run around to just to get enough food, maybe. That's to say, someone who gives up performing the prescribed prayers because of the struggle for livelihood resembles the soldier who abandoned his training and trench and went and begged in the market. So, as they say, you gotta do what you gotta do. Doesn't mean that you have to go for certain, steps and actions to get your livelihood. But what are you really doing? Someone who gives up performing the prescribed prayers because of the struggle for livelihood resembles the soldier who abandoned his training and trench for livelihood, resembles for struggle for livelihood resembles the soldier who abandoned his training and trench and went and begged in the markets.
Sometimes when we speak with the brokers or employers, they say, "Oh, hocam, yes, that's good. So we have to pray, but we can't find time."
Yeah.
For example, for Zuhr prayer, let's say it's just in the middle of the working hours. Can't you have even at least 10 minutes just for the first part? Yeah, actually we can find, but it's laziness, let's say, right now. We were talking about the turbulence, right? We don't have to have calamities or, let's say, hard times to understand what a turbulence is, right? Mm-hmm. It's actually a turbulence. Maybe a spiritual one, but we don't see the material effects, let's say. But one cannot find his way through this duty in their lives, for example. They were working, we can't even find 10 minutes. So that's the turbulence itself, actually. We are in life so much that we cannot see anything except, even though they admit that, they accept that, that's a good thing. Yeah, hocam, it's a good thing. Yeah, we have to do it. There is God, Allah. We will believe in it, but we cannot give 10 minutes. It's ridiculous, actually.
And yet, ironically, even the worldly people know that giving breaks, increases efficiency in work time.
Yeah.
They suggest, you should make a break or get some rest. So then you should break in. You say, this is a rest, man. 10 minutes praying is a real rest.
The same guy probably
Yeah,
go to the bathroom and spend minutes or go
Yeah.
smoke or
Yeah.
something and stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
But
Refreshing
like
yourself.
something refreshing.
Yeah.
For us too, I think, right? I mean, sometimes we, of course, tend to project these things outside, but also inwards as well. I think, right? There are levels of this, right? Like, because someone who may be lazy and not pray at all, but someone like me, we might be delaying the prayer, right? Not pray.
Finding good excuses.
Yeah, right. Finding like, okay, I'll do after this meeting. But for example, some busy guy, businessman who is also religious was saying it on, and I saw that it is definitely good. Like they're asking like the journalist is amazed, like, oh, how do you find time to pray and stuff? He says, if I'm in the middle of the meeting, for example, and I have to go to the bathroom, I do go to the bathroom, right? I mean, I cannot just, deal with it by sitting down, right? I have to leave the meeting and do it, and that maybe is what you need to do in certain things, right? Especially, if you, again, because it is at the end of the day when you compare your priorities, I guess, kind of comes back to the discussion on what is our priority, right? There is, let's say you are in a meeting, it's an important meeting, yeah, sure, I agree. But at the same time, there's another meeting waiting for you with the creator of the universe that you will have to meet, and it is also helpful to you as well. And it's not for his sake, it's actually for your sake. But it is a meeting, it should be the most important meeting of the day, or the 5 meetings of the day. It's just, if you really work through it, you could schedule your day around these. But again, talking to my nafs mainly, is that we usually schedule our days and then try to find spaces for prayers and stuff. Okay, maybe after this, maybe after that. But because there is that leniency Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives to us about the prayer times. Again, I'm not saying it's wrong, but everybody is in a journey. I guess that was my point. Like for someone, it could be who is not praying. It could be the struggle could be to pray. But for someone who is already praying, struggle could be to do it early, do it with jama'ah. There are levels, and then in each level, I think we should try to go and look at the next. What is it for me? The next level. What could I do to make my prayers better, more quality, or how do I put this as the first thing on the agenda, on my day, rather than filling the blanks everything.
Yeah, since we started discussing this point, let me quote one part from here. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وما خلقت الجن والإنس إلا ليعبدون ما أريد منهم من رزق وما أريد أن يطعمون إن الله هو الرزاق ذو القوة المتين. In the name of Allah, the merciful, compassionate, I created not jinn and mankind except that they might worship me. This is a very strong verse, but it's still understandable to me, in my mind, right? It says nothing except worshiping, right? Second one, no sustenance do I require of them, nor do I require that they should feed me. Oops, what did it say? Let me read it again. No sustenance do I require of them, nor do I require that they should feed me. This is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaking to us. What does it mean to feed Allah? For Allah is He who gives all sustenance, Lord of power, steadfast forever. For a long time these verses worried my mind, since according to many Quranic commentaries their apparent meaning did not reflect the Quran's elevated miraculousness, I shall now explain briefly 3 aspects of their extremely beautiful and exalted meanings. So these are miraculously pointing out actually our situation, our condition, to wake us up in a way. He will just mention 3 of them. Maybe I will read 1 or 2. Extreme beautiful and exalted meanings which proceed from the effulgence of the Quran. First, sometimes Almighty Allah attributes to Himself certain states that could pertain to His Messenger so as to honor and exalt Him. Here too, the verses, I created you for worship, not to give me sustenance and feed me, have this meaning. My Messenger does not want a wage, recompense and reward, or to be fed in return for his duty of messengership and conveying to you the obligations of worship. They refer to the noble Messenger والسلام, being given food and sustenance. Otherwise, it would be making known something self-evident and clear. It's clear that I cannot feed Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and would be incompatible with the Quran's miraculous eloquence. This is also actually a very deep meaning that, you know, it's repeated in the Quran many times in Ajri illa Allah, right? Our wages with Allah. What's the other verse? Manna as'alukum ajran, right in the Surah Yasin, because so my servants, my messengers doesn't ask any recompense from you, right? Or obey to the one that does not ask any recompense from you. So this is a very strong part, but I want to focus on the second aspect. Man is excessively preoccupied with his sustenance. So I'm trying to make my bread money. So lest he is deluded into making his winning, it's a pretext for neglecting worship, or making it an excuse. The verse says, you were created for worship, for ibadah, ubudiyah, being a servant. The result of your creation is worship. Winning sustenance is worship of a sort, from the point of view of its being a divine command. Winning sustenance is worship of a sort, from the point of view of its being a divine command. I have undertaken to provide your sustenance and that of your families and animals, my creatures. It pertains to me. You were not created to procure food and sustenance, for I am the Razzaq, the provider. For I am the provider. I provide the sustenance of my servants, your dependents. So your family, your children, your animals, whoever depends on you, you think yourself, is provided by Allah. So do not make it an excuse and give up worship. If its meaning is not this, it becomes a statement of the obvious. For to provide Almighty Allah with food and sustenance is self-evidently impossible. So Allah rejects this idea so strongly that it should make sense to us. We really wake up, because we are really into this delusion. We really think that we are providing ourselves. But like in the example here, for example, he wanted us to compare, right, a child with a grown-up, or a newly born animal with a wild beast. So when I was born, I wasn't even able to turn from right to left, right, just to move my mouth. So the best sustenance is just put into my mouth, right? And then second day, maybe I was able to walk a little bit. They tell me, just go to the kitchen and take this, bring water, whatever. And the third day, get this money and go to the market, buy something for yourself. The fourth stage, now I'm going out and I'm able to work. So I'm sustaining myself, providing myself, my family, right? You know, the people around me. So this goes like that, step by step. So I really start thinking that it's me who's doing this. But if we really look into it a little bit, and when I was baby, just like, you know, I cannot make mother's milk. When you ask the mom, you know, what is in this milk, the ingredients of the mother's milk, she will not be able to tell you. So she wasn't also the provider, the mom, right? It's directly from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You see, for example, newly born like kittens, or they just go and find, you know, mother's milk with closed eyes and everything. It's just, they're inspired to do it, right? I was watching my kittens, they even pump the milk while they're drinking.
Yeah.
They know what to do, you know. The first day they, for example, eat something else than mother's milk, they, you know, clean themselves starting from right to the left. This is like their sunnah. So even, you know, small actions relate to the risk is taught to them. They're trained to do it. So they are not really doing anything to provide themselves, to, you know, sustain themselves, but like the soldier, it is just some related service actions, right? So it's a fatigue duty. So all the provisions, you know, meals of the soldiers are coming to the regiment. Of course, you gotta carry, you know, the tray, and then, you know, put it to serve, and then, you know, maybe wash the tins, whatever. So whatever we are doing is in that category. It's not something really, you know, I don't want to go further. Of course, I'm not raising the sun, I'm not bringing the spring, I'm not, you know,
creating fruits and
yeah, leading the worms under the earth to work, you know.
it's
the
more
opening
of
the
a-
seed.
It looks like it's more of like a social fallacy or construct that we find ourselves in the sense that, like we think, for example, you know, like, and that's I think one aspect in terms of like child education is important, right? Because there is an example of like taking kids to the rain, supplication for rain. One major wisdom, you know, Ustad mentions is that it is to show that it is not your parents who are sustaining you or who are giving you the food. They are also asking from someone, right, for rain, so that, you know, so it is an education. Similarly, the reverse of this is that if the kid starts thinking that if the dad goes ahead and says, you know, I put food on this table, you know, you'll listen what I say. Well, you are not, like, you should watch your words at that point, right? You should be careful, because, you know, you should be saying, Allah provided all of us this food. You know, it's my duty, and, you know, as a father, it's my current duty is to go work, find our risk for you guys, and, you know, your risk is also sent through me to you. But again, if it is,
We didn't read that part, but it is also a worship actually. I'm going out to do
Yes.
this as a worship, right? It's because Allah commanded to do it.
yeah,
It's not that I am really getting my provision, I'm earning my provision.
yeah,
I'm just doing it as a worship
yeah.
because it's commanded to do it, but it's like the soldier's service, not really to provide myself or.
Yeah. But when a kid sees his or her dad saying that I provide you, again, a wrong statement, they might think that, oh, okay, one day I'll grow up and I'll provide for myself, right? It's almost like, again, as you said, from the observations of the universe, there is no real basis to this, but it's almost like this social construct that, you know, that, you know, my dad provided, now I will gain my independence by, you know, earning. But if it is, it's also hurting the social relationship. And I don't want to divert the topic too much, but because if the father approached this as, I am servant of God, you are servant of God, we are finding our risk together, it's my duty, and then, you will be leveled in that servanthood. But now you try to create this hierarchy by claiming that you found the food or whatever. But then they will say, okay, if I find the food myself, maybe I'll break the hierarchy.
Thank you for bringing this up. Let me quote one sentence in the example again, because I guess this is directly related.
Yeah.
One of the two soldiers is a devout Muslim who knows the obligations of his religion and performs them, and struggles with shaitan and his own nafs in order to give up serious misdoings and not to commit sins. While the other is a degenerate wrongdoer who is so immersed in the struggle for livelihood that he casts aspersions on the true provider. He accuses the true provider, abandons his religious obligations, commits any sins that come his way as he makes his living. So actually, both will go for making the livelihood. Both will go out for seeking their provision, right? But it's like the first one, giving priority to his real duty, so it may kind of fix his intention too. As you said, I'm not the real provider of that child, right? But still, I'm going to make my rent money, but I need to understand that this is another kind of worship. And it's only this that will fix my intention. One of the two soldiers is the devout Muslim who knows the obligations of his religion and performs them and struggles with shaitan and his own nafs. Shaitan and his nafs telling him that, oh, you are everything for this family, right? If you're not here, they're gonna die. They're gonna,
That's right.
yeah, starve. In order struggle with shaitan and his own nafs in order to give up serious misdoings. Was this, for example, one of the biggest misdoings, sin, is shirk actually. If you really think that you are sustaining your family, astaghfirullah, this is a big problem.
Hidden shirk.
Yeah, and not to commit sins. And also while, looking for livelihood, if you really think that this is a worship, you will be careful, right? To be honest, not to cheat, not to, do something haram, because you will do it as you're doing your salat, you will do this as you're doing a worship. This is not something that you, take all the shortcuts to get more or whatever, this is not a game actually, this is a serious worship.
Kind of question. In the beginning, he brought up this between duty and provision, which it seems like your responsibility and the reward. But then later on, he kind of